At a young age, at the starting out stage, I think the most important thing in a teacher is that they actually build the foundation of playing. I think that that needs to be done at an early age. It's one thing in the States here. I'm from Canada myself and grew up in the conservatory system there. And one of the things that was really terrific about that was that a basis, the Royal Conservatory has a standardized set of exams and technique which actually teach people, you know, in a standard progressive way, which is really terrific because it builds a more consistent concept of technique and just pianistic growth, or violinistic, any instrument, like it's set up for all instruments. Here in the States, you don't see that as much because there's a couple of organizations like Music Teachers Association in California. There's a couple of different states have certain exams set up for the kids, but a lot of it's just kind of left up to the teacher and the individual. So I think that's one of the things that's really missing, that needs to be really looked at. Teachers should be nurturing in the sense of building a love for music and also introducing the student to a lot of music. A teacher has to be the right person for you. There's a real mix. For instance, one of my first teachers wasn't a terrific pianist, wasn't a terrific musician, but she was an incredible person. And she really didn't work a lot on the basics that are so important for a performing musician to have. But she had the ability just to work with people. And, you know, I think a lot of times with an early teacher, I think it's just the seeds that they plant in how a person responds to music and what they see in music that's beautiful. And I think that's such an important part right at the top. If you have that, you're with a good teacher. It doesn't matter if, you know, you're necessarily playing the best, because you will eventually find a teacher who does have a higher sense of technique or a better regimen for building students. And I think at that point, most people who are sensitive to that realize that anyways. A lot of times it's also luck. Like, you know, someone may hear you and go, now you should be with such and such a teacher. And that kind of happened, that definitely happened to me. You know, on personal experience, that certainly happened to me. And any of my colleagues that I can think of, so many of us tell the same story. Like, I grew up as a farm boy, like out in the country, and I didn't start playing until I was 10, so I started really late. So by all accounts, that's terribly late for a pianist to start a career, but I made my orchestra debut when I was 18, so just after 8 years of playing. So it's, you know, it depends on the ability of the person and the situation of what happens to the person. I know lots of wonderful kids that have the very best teacher around, you know, that they have a wonderful start at the age of 4 or 5, and by the time they're 19 or 20, they're burnt out, or they're going to go into another career. And more often than not, it's because they are burnt out just on the work that's involved at that point. Also, emotionally, it tends to dig into a lot of people as well.